Warning: what you are about to hear are just my opinions. And I'm not up for debating opinions with Souls-born fanboys.
Great Elden Ring.
Elden Ring is one of the most overhyped games in the last 2 years. It's overzealous marketing like this that makes me lose faith in humanity. I get that people are excited, but that doesn't excuse the conduct of many people harassing people over differences in opinions. The PC port of the game was almost unplayable, and From Software fanboys pretending otherwise are just excusing bad actors in the industry. Starting videos is hard, so I guess we'll start at the beginning. The game opens with a boss fight you are supposed to lose, no context given. Immediately, the game is setting up its edgy premise that this is a hardcore game for hardcore gamers, an energy that kept going through the game's first real boss. While I understand that the decision to not include difficulty options is up to From Software as artists, I can't help but feel they are alienating their customers at this point. You've already made the games for the hardcore players, which they can just replay if they don't like having a difficulty option at the start of the game. Continuing that tradition of high difficulty is only continuing to prevent new players from getting into those games. I hate when fanboys say to just use items that are easy mode, because just as easily we could have had difficulty options, and the fanboys could just opt into the hard mode they so desperately desire. It's also harming older fans like myself, who are getting older and having a harder time keeping up with the changes in mechanics, like the switch over to using the Y button instead of the A button to affirm decisions. While I understand that many gamers have the option of watching Let's Plays, it's not as satisfying as being able to earn the credit sequence and achievements for yourself, something that From Software could easily do. The only Souls game I was able to beat was 3, by making use of summons. However, it seems that this time nobody is engaging with the cooperative mechanics. I stood before many boss doors and did not see a single summon sign pop up, not even for NPCs. I even tried using the equivalent of embers, and I still didn't see their signs. I guess Elden Ring is just doubling down on its hardcore experience. I just found that I don't have the time to keep trying the same bosses over and over. As somebody who is working very hard at all times, I found that following tutorials helped a lot, which is how I found the Moonlight Katana. I guess this is a replacement for the series tradition of the Moonlight Greatsword, although this time appropriated culturally from Japan, and without the quests. I get that they wanted to distinguish themselves from Dark Souls, but it seems that From Software has gotten lazier with time, opting to just throw this weapon into the world without cohesion or very much reason. Oh, I'm sure it's there for a reason, I just don't care. In fact, the game has many plot holes. However, what I don't enjoy are the number of people criticizing those of us who use Moonveil. While I understand it is a powerful weapon, the games need options like this for people uninterested in spending hours grinding to unlock other powerful weapons that are seen as more honorable or whatever. I was able to use Moonveil for a lot of content, and being able to see more content is preferable to appeasing your sensibilities about game designs. Why would artists work so hard making content that few people are getting to experience? There was so much love being poured into areas I only saw through live streams. A new mechanic to help make the game easier is Torrent, which allowed me to bypass many bad encounters. Unfortunately, you don't have access to him for most of the game, and it seems fairly arbitrary what the rules are. Like I was often outside, yet I couldn't summon him. I also took far too long to learn that you can actually heal Torrent with the flask, which just feels like an undercooked mechanic to me, honestly. The flasks should be only for healing the player. There should be some other item for healing the horse. Definitely not the best horse I've encountered on this channel. The crafting system is similarly underdeveloped. I usually love crafting, but not here. It felt just kind of random when I would find items, since they typically wouldn't say what they were for. You can also find recipes, but they similarly don't tell you what recipes they have. It's a lot of trial and error, and constantly checking the item crafting menu to see what's in there. Not a fan, to be completely honest. And I can't be honest, because every time I've shared my subjective opinions on this game, I have been harassed by fanboys claiming I am just ignorant of information the game provides. I even had to start banning people being toxic on my Discord server. Like I couldn't find the sorcery teacher without looking it up, but apparently a merchant I never saw sells a clue that points me to it. Like, okay, how am I going to find the teacher if I never found the merchant? There's just a lot of little spiteful decisions like that, similar to Takeshi's Challenge from the 90s. In fact, the game seems to be developed by people with an unhealthy relationship with Japanese culture. Like if you want to make a game entirely about ninjas, just do that. Don't mix katanas and knights randomly. Speaking of knights, early on we get invited to a place called the Round Table Hold, but the game never elaborates on where this place is. It's just a hub area in the middle of the void, I guess, unconnected to the rest of the world. It just feels lazy compared to the way Firelink Shrine was incorporated into Dark Souls 3's game world, since the game over-relies on you fast traveling to both get to and leave the area. There is a girl named Melania who is obvious fat bait for the fans, who gives us our horse and does stuff for us for nothing in return. In fact, this world just seems to treat princesses as commodities to be used and abused to justify lore. Like I wish the game had more to say about this issue, instead of just engaging in it wholeheartedly. And don't cite some lore explanation, there is not a single person out there that actually knows about or cares about that deeply about the lore of this universe, 95% of which is contained in the intro cutscene. I don't know why people think George R.R. Martin is a good writer. He could barely write good side quests in this game, let alone an actually satisfying finale to his series. So to see him pop up here felt like nothing more than pandering, like the creators were binging Game of Thrones and decided they wanted to do that, and asked if they could get the writer on board with their project. But I doubt he even did much. It has the same energy as Dark Souls, just with all the names changed. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought the guy on simply to put his name on the project so that people would think the writing would actually be good this time. It is not. It's hard to even follow the plot given how much time will pass between plot points. I don't plan on spoiling the game in case you plan on playing it yourself, or honestly saving your money and just watching my upcoming Let's Play instead, and want to know what happens. But I feel like the game didn't bother explaining stuff, like what was up with Queen America. The game also reuses assets a lot, both from other games and itself. Once you start to recognize the same cave and dungeon assets, you cannot unsee it. They try to decorate it up, but it's obvious that the designers were just copy-pasting layouts and trying to pass it off as wholly original content. It's obvious that From Software, at their current size, are incapable of realizing an open world this big and have to cheat a lot to pull it off. Like how the game pretends there is a whole unreachable area at the foot of the Giants area that I missed, It's just padding. A great example of reused assets done right are the Erdtree avatars. These guys are unlike anything seen before in the series, and their repetition means that you can actually learn how to fight them, unlike most bosses in the game. Like, great, I beat Godric. By the time I ever fight him again, so much time will have passed that I'll have forgotten how to do it. The only way you can actually be good at this game is to play only it, which is something that From Software wants its players to do. I don't support parasocial relationships with my fans, and I don't think it's right when game developers try to lock players down in one franchise. Like, the only reason the game is 70 gigabytes is so that players can't have multiple other games downloaded. It's a disgusting business practice and belongs nowhere near any game claiming to be Game of the Year. Same thing with over-relying on reading the wiki. The game developers save time on good game design by just having information be figured out by the community instead. It means instead of a well-crafted experience, it's just more homework I have to do instead of playing the game. I play games to do less work, not more. It was just an excruciating experience grinding through this game. Oftentimes literally, as the bosses are badly tuned and often require you to sit in place and grind experience for multiple levels. While I liked the Mimic tier, because it meant I had backup on fights, it just feels like From Software knows that the player base is not engaging in cooperative mechanics and decided to implement a replacement instead of fixing it. It's like they know the game will be dead in a year. Good. From Software deserves to be punished for their bad design philosophies. For one, the game would crash frequently on alt tabs in 2022. That shouldn't be happening this late in the game, especially with a title that relies on you reading the wiki so much. So yeah, Elden Ring. It's not a very good game, despite what the page shills are saying. I know that is going to be a controversial opinion among fanboys, but I think with time people are going to come around to my way of thinking. In fact, I think that sometime soon, in the immediate future, people are really going to understand the truth of my words. Because words are how we fight back against an uncaring industry. If you want to support me in this, please like, comment, and subscribe. I do periodic live streams on my second channel if you want to catch me on air. And I have a Twitter account as well as a public Discord server. I would love to hear your thoughts on my work, as criticism is the only means of improvement. I'd like to thank the patrons who support my good work. I'm continuing my efforts on other projects, do not worry. If you would also like to see quality videos ahead of their public release, consider supporting me. You would be supporting the financial independence of a content creator not motivated by greed and cashing in on trends. As a reward, you'll be placed in the credit sequences of my videos, to have your names forever associated with them. I do have to apologize for wasting patron money on Elden Ring, as it simply was not a prudent financial investment for my channel.